Welcome to the Your Business on Purpose podcast, the ultimate resource for women business owners looking to confidently navigate their entrepreneurial journey while upholding their principles. I'm Dawnette Palmore, your host and fellow entrepreneur. Join me as we immerse ourselves in illuminating conversations with accomplished experts spanning various fields across the business spectrum. Together, we'll unearth strategic insights into seizing opportunities and ensuring that your business is equipped with the essential elements aligned with your purpose and values. Welcome back to Your Business on Purpose, the podcast that helps entrepreneurs move from chaos to clarity so that they can build a business that truly supports their life and their purpose. So let me ask you something. What if your business is silently leaking $100,000? Whew, I gasp at the thought. Or maybe even more every single year. And not because you don't have clients, not because your service isn't incredible, but because your process is broken. Oh my gosh, have we ever thought of this? I can't wait to dive into this. Okay, today I am joined by Melissa Morris, founder of Agency Authority. Melissa has spent more than a decade helping multiple six-figure agency owners streamline operations, build stronger teams, and finally step into the CEO role that their business needs. Through her proven TOPP framework, she's seen firsthand how talented owners unknowingly become the bottleneck, costing themselves time, money, clients, and I have to add stress. We can add a lot of things to those lists. So if you've been struggling, feeling stretched thin, which I know most of our women business owners do, struggling with bottlenecks, or wondering why your revenue doesn't match your hard work, this conversation is for you. So don't skip, don't miss, don't turn us off. Melissa's going to show us how to plug the leaks, reclaim our time, and build a business that scales with less stress and more freedom. Melissa, welcome to the show, and thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you so much for having me on. I cannot wait to dig into this.
I know it's going to be so fun. We were just chatting before the podcast because because we always chat before podcasts, but just saying how we lack processes in every area of our lives. And it may be not because we're not aware that we need a process, but we're like, how do I even do it? I'm already in it, right? So I love this conversation, but I was looking at your website and you've spent over a decade working with women, or I should say in agencies, and now you're helping owners, like you're in the nitty gritty with them with their operation. So what made you so passionate about it to get into business for yourself about it?
Yeah, so I spent 10 years working in the ad agency world, marketing firms, and I saw how chaotic it can be. So I worked in a range over those years. I worked in very small, what I would say like boutique size agencies that had, 7, 8 team members, up to agencies that had 60, 80 team members. So I really got to see a big spread there. And one of the things I noticed was how common this lack of systems, lack of operations was. Even for the bigger guys, it's very difficult. And I think part of that is when we're thinking about specifically advertising and marketing, the space I started out in, it's very creative driven. And so that tends to feel very difficult for a lot of reasons. So we end up having conversations about, what if I'm not inspired? Or what if it takes longer for me to get to the idea I want? Or what if the client really hates it? And I get that, but we still need to run a profitable business. We still have to have benchmarks. We still have to have standards. We still have to have something to steer the ship forward, even if we know it might kind of bounce and bob a little bit and it isn't going to be a straight line.
Yeah. It's always a work in progress, right?
Yes.
It's funny when you were saying that no matter how big the company is, I have a catering company. We order meat from a vendor. And here's what happened to them because they didn't have systems and processes in place. Their lady who takes all the payments, she was pregnant. She was like an emergency. She had to go, I don't remember the condition, but she had to go home on bed rest. Okay. They were unable to take payments.
It fell apart. Yes. And
It
that
was
is
like,
never good.
I just like, what is going on? And then they're calling you like, you didn't pay this. And I'm like, you didn't charge my card. Like,
I did. What are you talking about?
right. So you can see how crazy, because I'm thinking, how in the world can you be this giant company and you don't have more than one person that knows how to do this?
Right.
But it probably happened when they were small. And it was just never something they fixed. And so I think this is gonna be a great conversation because I believe most of my audience is micro, as you said, I think you used a different term, boutique,
Boutique.
that were like 8 or 9. So we're actually, NABO is trying to get the definition of that changed to micro businesses, legally, so that micro businesses could be helped, because we get lumped in with small business, and
It's
there's a
so
whole
different.
story
Yeah.
behind that. It is different. Um, Anyways, I just went off. Where was I going with that question? I forgot where I was going, but I'm just thinking about when we're smaller,
Mhm.
we could put my audience is micro businesses. That's where I was going. It came back. Um, and how most important it is for us to start this now rather than later, because it gets harder. It's like when you don't
Yes.
discipline your kid when they become teenagers, it's harder to discipline them. It's just
Yes.
the way that things are. What do you think, you can share a story of maybe, having the business owners come into this bottleneck, right? And maybe explain what you mean by that in this particular scenario.
Yeah. And so, to kind of piggyback on what you were saying there is it gets harder the bigger you get. Sometimes it's also hard to get big when you don't have any
Mm,
of this in place. And so a lot of times the business owners find I'm working, like I'm busting my butt. It's not that I don't care. It's not that I'm not willing to put in the dues, but it just never seems to be enough. It never seems to be paying off down the road. And then it's, I'll get to it. I'll get to it. Or what notoriously happens is they fall into this trap of, well, I just need to hire. And when I get more hands on deck, it will free up my time. And what they very quickly find out is more hands on deck mean more questions. Suddenly there's 2 new Slack channels. There's more people who are confused. There's suddenly more meetings. And you're thinking, how is this taking up more of my time than less by having more team? And all of a sudden, the business owner looks around and they've got 5, 6, 7 people looking at them saying, what do we do next? What do we do
mm,
next? And they're thinking, well, this is not helping. This isn't
right.
getting me anywhere. So that's where we need to start looking at our systems, our processes, getting things in place. Because what happens is when those aren't in place and we have everybody looking at us saying, like, hey, what's next? Or we're confused. We're not really sure what to do here. Can you check this? Can you check that? The client had a question. Well, you're leaking money. This is where it starts, is because these wild inefficiencies are beginning to happen.
Mm,
I have done a number of audits on agencies only to find that they were spending, I have seen up to $10,000 getting spent on internal meetings,
oh my
paying for the
gosh.
team members to sit in internal meetings. Sometimes these team members are sitting in 3 hours a piece of a team meeting. Now you multiply that times 7 team members sitting in there. You think about what it costs. Let's throw out a random number of $55 per employee, which I feel like that's going to be applicable to a number of people. You start adding that up, you've got thousands of dollars just vanishing. But what
Because you're
happens if you
talking about
don't have
the same things over
over
and
this
over.
over and over again? Right. And then what happens is when we don't have those meetings, though, a lot of times they're happening because people are confused. They don't know what to do. And so we're all getting together and we're playing who's on first and who's going to handle this and what's happening there and what client's going on. But when you have systems in place, you have the right tools in place, you have the right workflows, and you have provided your team members with the proper containers to work in, you don't need to have hours long meeting. You don't need to have 17 Slack channels. Everybody knows what to do.
That's amazing. That makes me think of this organization I'm part of. And every time the board turns over in their chapters, it's
Mm,
like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do.
yeah.
So they're in the process of getting systems in place, which I think is great. But you could see the chaos that it's caused.
Yeah.
Um, and the time it takes, because by the time you get somebody up to speed, now it's 6, 9 months later, and then the board's going to turn over again. So I could see how important this is and how much time is being wasted and money on top of that when you could train them the first time, put these systems and process into place so that when they have questions, they can go back and say, okay, where am I at in this process? Does this answer my question? If it's something deeper that's not on there, obviously they can go up to their next manager and not bother. I don't want to say bother, but the owner or the CEO is there to make sure everything's running smoothly, not always be putting out fires, right? That's why we have managers.
Exactly.
That's amazing. Okay, so $10,000. So would that be like $10,000 per meeting, possibly?
If your team is large enough, it certainly
Oh,
can be. It certainly can be. So I've seen it, typically when we're talking about a multi six figure agency and you've got 5 or 6, full time employees, maybe a contractor or two going on, it's usually several thousand a month by the time you add all these people up and then you multiply that times 12. And then we're not even talking about lost opportunity
yeah,
costs either. Because if I'm spending 3 hours in internal meetings and another hour checking my Slack and my email, I mean, it gobbles up quickly. And suddenly I'm spending as a team member an extra 3 or 4 hours of my week every week just chasing down what I'm supposed to be working on. Projects are stalling out. Again, what could I be doing in this 3, 4, 5 hours per week?
yeah.
That could be another project. That could be another couple of clients.
Right, right. Or it could be, smile and dial calls, whatever that might be.
Whatever it looks like. Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
like, okay,
exactly.
it's costing you more than even the people just being in meetings.
Exactly.
So, what do you see are the most common process breakdowns that cause these companies and agencies to lose the clients, lose the cash, or lose the time?
Yeah, there's a couple of points that it can break down. I would say one of the most common and where you can look first if you're wondering in your own business is have you scoped your offers clearly and tightly enough? So scope creep is any work we're doing for a project that is really falling outside of the contracted deliverables and the contracted fee. So if I have
Mhm.
said I'm going to do X, Y, and Z for you, but then we're sprinkling a little bit of S and T over here, I'm doing scope creep. And what's interesting is everybody, not everybody, oftentimes that finger gets pointed at the client. Well, the client is asking me, the client said that we were going, what was I to do? And a lot of times, though, we need to look back and point at our team, but really that means pointing back at us as the business owner because we have not been clear to our client about what is included. I was just saying this the other day. I want to believe that most of our clients are not bad humans. They're not trying to be mean to us.
Yeah.
They're not trying to take advantage of us. They are confused because it has not been clear. So
Mhm.
there's lacking clarity there. Your team members, they're not pushing back because they also feel like there's a lack of clarity. They don't know if they should push back. They don't know if they feel empowered to do that. So
Mm,
a lot of confusion there. And then that rolls back on the business owners. Have you been very, very clear about what is included, what is not included? And have you equipped your team and given them what they need to hold that and to maintain that boundary and behave in a way that you feel comfortable with if that's starting to blur?
that's great. So you're empowering your team to be able to make those decisions instead of running back to you or doing things that are costing you extra money that you didn't come in your scope of service. I love that. I love that. So your program is called Top, right? It's a Top framework. Can you kind of walk us through what that is and how it helps these agencies and companies plug these leaks that we're talking about?
Yeah. So I developed this framework a few years ago. And what I saw is there were a couple of key areas that when they weren't shored up, that's when the train really started coming off the rails. So I like to think of these as like legs on a table, right? So T is your team, O is your offers. You have your pipeline, which I actually consider your previous, current, and future clients. We want to consider all of those in our pipeline. And then you have your processes. And when these all feel solid, they are secure, you can really pile a lot of the last P on top, which is profit. It just can hold a lot of capacity. But when they're kind of lopsided, right? And maybe we do feel really good about our offers. They're really clear, but our team's real shaky. They're poorly trained. They're real hit or miss. Maybe our processes are sort of documented, sort of not, right? Our pipeline is when we have time. Then we have a real wobbly table. And then, you find yourself folding up a napkin and trying to stick it under one of the legs, right? Like nobody banged the table. All the drinks are going down. No one dares order soup. That's going to be a disaster, right? So,
especially if it's a tomato soup.
right? That's never good.
Wow, that's amazing. So I love that. So you come in to kind of say, hey, let's see what's going on here. Where are the wobbly legs and how can we fix them? So that you get the third P, which is profit, because that's what we're all in business for. I love that. That's so good. How did you come up with that?
So what's interesting is after working in agencies and then working for agencies, as I mentioned at the start of this, I started to see some patterns and trends. Even, the micro business I was working in that had 8 employees. And then I'm in this much larger business that's, maybe 70 full-time employees. I'm looking around thinking, how are they still struggling with these same issues? I thought in a larger business, this wouldn't be the case. And then when I'm out consulting on my own, once again, I'm seeing these recurring themes, these recurring patterns. And it really makes sense because when you think about operations on the highest level, which we know is a foundational department for really any business, what's often lumped under there? Things like your HR department. This is your team, right? Our service lines, our product offerings, our tools, our workflows, our processes. This is really all under operations. And operations is just what keeps it humming. So when I started to look back at just what I was routinely seeing and seeing these agency owners struggle with, it was really quite easy for me to start grouping them into buckets and saying, okay, these are the things we need to look at. But how do we do it for a micro business, not a multi-million-dollar business? So how do we take that same philosophy and practice that these multi-million-dollar agencies and businesses are going to implement? And how do we pull out and extract the pieces, plug them into our multi-six-figure business so that it gets us to the $1 million mark?
That's amazing. We need more $1 million women business owners. The percentage is so incredibly low. It's very depressing.
It is.
And this is a way that they can get there, having those systems and processes in place. Like now, even if you don't have them, get them. There's many resources for you to be able to do that. So what are maybe 1 or 2 simple systems or processes someone could implement like this week to save time and money in their business?
So there's a couple of things I would want agency owners and business owners to take a look at. As I mentioned before, where our biggest profit leaks come from are our offers. So I do think it's worth taking a look there and seeing, have I gotten really clear on what is included and what is not included? From there, that's where we can actually start creating some real accountability, getting some documentation in place, and then ultimately plugging that in to a proper project management tool. So something like ClickUp, Asana, Teamwork, something of that nature.
Yeah.
But while they all work together, you have to be addressing every step of this process because it's really difficult to pass over. I hear this a lot too, where they say they're struggling to delegate. Business owners tell me, like, I just can't delegate. And so as we're talking about it, it's like, well, delegating is actually pretty easy. You just tell someone to go do something.
Yeah.
Where they're falling short is true ownership of the task that's getting delegated to them. And that's where they're struggling. And so we don't want to talk about how do I make it easier to delegate? What I really want is I want someone to assume ownership of this duty, this responsibility, so that I no longer have to keep a line of sight on it. That is the gold standard of delegating. And when these pieces are in place, that's what's happening in your business.
Yes, I agree. Because, okay, we say go do this, but we're not really empowering them to actually do it or have any authority over it. And then they keep coming, checking with us. And you're like,
Yes.
I thought I gave this to them, but we didn't give everything to them. And that's why these
Yes.
written things are so important to have
Yeah.
written down.
Well, and
to have
to give an example of that, it's one thing if I say, okay, Katie, you need to go invoice client A, B, and C, and you need to do it by Thursday. Katie goes, I got you. And she goes, but then she doesn't do it how you normally do it, right? She does net 30 and you always do net 15, right? And she doesn't attach it like a PDF. So it goes through the proper payment system. She sends it in some other way. And then now it's bogging down payment. And then next time you have to come, well, why didn't you send it this way? Oh, I'll just do it myself. And then the next time we come around, and then we're mad at Katie and saying, Katie, why didn't you do it? But if I said, Katie, you are responsible for invoicing these level of clients. This is going to happen at the first Thursday of every month. I want you to send them out. And when you go into ClickUp and you look at that task that's assigned to you that says this is going to happen every Thursday, inside is a checklist of all the things we need to make sure happen every time you send that invoice. And I've also got a link out to a quick Loom video that shows you how to grab the PDF and attach so it goes out in the way that plays nicely with so-and-so's payment system and their billing department. Do you have any questions? That is much different, right?
Wow.
And which one is going to give us a lot more success?
Right. And how much easier it is that if Katie had to move on, the next person can just go in there and look at
Exactly.
it, watch the videos and get it done. You don't have to spend a ton of training time, which costs a lot
That's
of money to
exactly
do it as
right.
well. That's brilliant. Oh my gosh, this is so good. Okay, so if they're saying my processes are messed up, I literally have none. My process is I come in and looking to see what is on fire, and that's what I deal with. How do they get a hold of you?
Yeah, well, and first, let me put out there, you are not alone if you are out there, a business owner, saying, like, don't look behind me because it's all on fire. So I want to put that out there. As we've said, we see this a lot. Like, this is in a variety of different businesses. But if you are thinking, Melissa's touching on some things here, I probably need to take a look at getting some of this addressed. Maybe you're not really sure. I've actually put together a quiz. So if you go to youragencyauthority.com/quiz, you can work through that and it will tell you where you're falling on this scale and offer you some really good practical next steps for getting out of the chaos and just bringing a lot more clarity to your business.
I love that. That's amazing. That'll all be in the show notes as well. So you guys just have to go there and click on it. Melissa, thank you. This was such a powerful conversation. And I love how you just reminded us that growth doesn't have to mean burnout. It can mean clarity, freedom, and of course, our favorite word, profitability, right? When we have the right processes in place. So if today's episode, opened your eyes to these hidden leaks that your business might have, I encourage you to take a harder look at your operations and ask yourself, where am I the bottleneck? We've talked many times on these podcasts about having conversations with ourselves. This is one of them. And then what is it really costing me? So if you're ready to bring in even more clarity, purpose to your business finances, don't forget to subscribe to this podcast and to please share it so it can get to more women faster and go further. And we can I want to see 100% of women business owners over $1 million in revenue a year. That would just make me happy. So let's get there together. And remember, moving from chaos to clarity starts with intention. So go run your business on purpose. This podcast is dedicated to you and all the incredible women out there breaking chains, pushing through, and striving to make it all work. Your support truly means the world to me. Could you do me a favor? Be a gem and leave a review. It will help us reach even more women, making a bigger impact. Your feedback is invaluable, and I would genuinely appreciate it. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe, ensuring you never miss an episode. Until next week, live a purposeful life in both your business and your finances.